You're listening to another episode of Tap Outs and Touchdowns.
That's right, Bill. I wanted to bring some energy, man. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Tap Outs and Touchdowns. As always, it's your guy Bully Ride. This week we are live on Facebook.com/Tap Outs and Touchdowns. We are live on YouTube at Tap Outs and Touchdowns, and we are live on Instagram at my brand new Instagram handle. That would be at Ryan Frick Comedy. And as always, to talk football, we are joined by football co-host Banker Bill. Bill, what's up, bud?
I honestly don't know how to follow the what you just did. I don't. I want to go, let's go, and then I can't do it. It's football time, man. Let's go.
It is. That's why you gotta bring that sort of football's back energy. You know, we gotta bring it in. Especially because some bad stuff sort of happened today. And I don't want to bring the mood down a whole lot, but I think I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what happened in Georgia today. And if you have not been paying attention to the news, Appalachia High School shooting in what is it? Winder, Georgia, that left 2 students and 2 teachers dead. It has been an ongoing situation. I was at Firestone most of the day, and developments were taking place the entire day that I was there. So first and foremost, thoughts and prayers go out to those in Winder, Georgia, because you never like to hear stuff like that. Like it's every year something like this happens, and it's I don't know what we can do to stop it, but I think we needed to go ahead and mention it to not that our podcast will ever reach our way out there, but it needs to be talked about. That being said, Bill, we got to get to some football talk, and Instagram only lets us go live consecutively for 1 hour. So let's go ahead and get to it in our favorite segment of the show, and that's Homer's Corner. And my Homer's Corner this week has to do with none other than the DirecTV / AT&T Uverse dispute with Disney and ESPN. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but if you've been living under a rock once again, I urge you to look up what's going on. If you didn't have one of those service providers, Sunday evening in the middle of the U.S. Open, just before kickoff of LSU and Southern Cal, the contract ran out between DirecTV, AT&T, and Disney. And so all of the ESPN networks have been pulled off from DirecTV and AT&T networks. And I will let you know that I was on hold after calling to cancel my AT&T service yesterday. I was given a window of 2 hours and 12 minutes to 3 hours and 18 minutes to receive a call back. And when I got called back, I was then put on hold for an hour and a half. I did a whole fantasy football draft while I was on hold with AT&T to cancel my service. And Bill, you'll be proud of me. I officially canceled AT&T Uverse. If you had Uverse, you were grandfathered in because they do not provide that any service anymore. And at this point, I don't care. I have finally cut the cord and cut ties. As of midnight Friday night, I will no longer have AT&T cable service. Thousands upon thousands, if not millions of people have been doing the same thing. And I don't want to hear this, that it's Disney's fault. It is Disney's fault. Disney is holding cable companies for ransom. Apparently they did it with Dish last year. But this is the third time in 5 years that DirecTV and AT&T have done this. There was 1 year we went without CBS leading into college football season. There was 1 year where we didn't have, I believe it wasn't Fox. I don't remember what it was. But then I know I went 3 years without NFL Network or NFL Red Zone. And so I cut ties. Good riddance. Probably never will have cable television again. So good riddance. That is my Homer's Corner. Bill, your Homer's Corner goes a little differently, and that has to do with what took place with your Florida Gators over the past weekend. So take it away with your Homer's Corner when it comes to Gator football and head coach Billy Napier.
Well, I do want to apologize, first of all, that look like I'm underwater right now. I do see it. And yeah, I have to figure that out. I don't know why that's happening. It looks amazing on my side, but then I look over at like the stream and it's like, what is that? Wow. Hopefully everybody can hear me fine. But Florida Gators football and Billy Napier. What was that this weekend? Obviously, getting curb stomped on your field by Miami. I know Miami's supposed to have a better team than they have in the past. I mean, they're 1 year removed from losing to Georgia Tech on the biggest bonehead coaching move I've seen in I don't know how long. I thought Mario Cristobal would get fired at the end of the season for how stupid that was, but he didn't. And then he went into the portal and did some decent recruiting and has kind of built a roster. But I thought Florida was a equally competent roster, but they just looked unprepared. Graham Mertz was awful. The offensive line, it was awful. The whole thing was awful. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I am so disappointed as a Florida Gators fan. And I have been on Billy Napier's side this entire time. And everybody's like, get rid of Sunbelt Billy. That's what the fans like to call him, Sunbelt Billy, because they hired him from Louisiana. And I've been on his side. I'm like, give the guy a chance. Give the guy a chance. We're in year, I want to say 3. I think we're in 3. He just had a decent recruiting class, got the number 1 quarterback in college and in high school. And man, was it terrible. Man, was it. Now, granted, neither was your team wasn't good either, Ryan and I. We're both kind of singing that. But man, was it terrible. And they just looked bad. They looked poorly coached. That's all I want to say about that. And honestly, at this point, if we don't see some improvement very quickly, we play Samford this week, and there is grumblings that there is a possibility Florida could lose to Samford because of how bad they played against Miami. And everybody expects that if that does happen, Billy Napier will get shown the door that day. I don't see that happening, but from that point forward, we have to play a pretty good schedule. We talked about it last week, how tough Florida's schedule is, and man, they have to improve a tremendous amount in the next month. I don't see it happening. So, just awful.
Yeah.
And I'm not against it. I hated to hear that Billy Napier might get fired. But at this point, if they don't improve what they look like this past week, he needs to go.
I was gonna touch on maybe if we had time in overtime to talk about how bad South Carolina looked. But did you see the report that that sources at Florida were saying that head coach Billy Napier got into it with the guy in the alligator costume?
We're just, as fans and students and everything else, we're tired of it. That team, I talked to you about it last week. There's a composite put together of the talent of players from wherever they come from in high school, that they put this composite together that is a rating of what your talent level is as a team. When they look at the players and what their abilities are, whatever. Florida had a much higher rating. They have the number 12 rating in the nation, much higher than Miami. And Miami blew them away. It wasn't even close. It wasn't a close game. It was 17-10 at one point, and then they destroyed them. And we're tired of it. I think Florida fans are tired of it. We know what this school is. We've had a bad team for how many years now? Is it like 4? I think Dan Mullen's last 2 seasons were pretty bad. And they said that. They said, well, he had a big mess to clean up. Napier had to clean up the recruiting, and the team was in disarray. But we've seen recruiting, and there are teams out there, and you and I both know this, and I think it's the argument against Shane Beamer and Billy Napier at the same time. There are teams out there that seem to do more with less. Vanderbilt looked very good against what they considered a decent Virginia Tech team this week. Vanderbilt never has a good recruiting class. Never. They don't have a top 50 recruiting class ever. And they beat Virginia Tech. And obviously it was at Vanderbilt, but they win that game. And we're watching teams like South Carolina that have decent recruiting classes and Florida that have decent recruiting classes underperform to what their expectations are. And at that point, it's on the coaching staff. And that's how I feel about Billy Napier right now. If you continue to lay eggs like you did this week, you shouldn't be there anymore. You don't deserve that job. Florida is still, regardless of how many bad seasons they've had in a row, it's still considered a premier job. It's still considered a big-time school because of what they've been in the past and how recent it's been that they've actually won national championships. So if you can't find a way to win with the recruiting classes that you're getting, with the transfers that you're getting, and you do something like that against Miami, an in-state rival, you don't deserve to be there anymore. That's kind of how I feel just in week 1. It's horrible. I felt one way one week, and then I saw what happened on the field and forget about it. It looked terrible.
Well, we're going to get into some more college football talk here. Again, didn't look great for either one of our programs last weekend. You mentioned Vanderbilt getting the win over Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was some people's like sleeper pick to win the ACC and make the Final Four. So really interesting to see that happen. But let's go ahead. Let's get into some college football talk. Because not only your Florida Gators look bad, but Florida State now becomes the first team in college football history to be 0-2 after week 1 in the college football season. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard it on the Dan Patrick show, and I thought it was a great stat. They fall at home to Boston College. Bill, he talked about Billy Napier not sticking around after this season. What happens if Florida State comes out and lays eggs throughout the rest of the season? Because they're not a well-coached team. Like we said at the end of last year. By the way, I haven't mentioned this. Whether you're watching the show on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, leave a comment. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you too. But Bill, what are your thoughts on Florida State being 0-2 going into week 2 of the college football season?
And normally I would be overjoyed watching Florida's main rival, Florida State, go 0-2 to start. Honestly, I can't say that I don't like it happening, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's good juju to do that. I don't want to be that guy. It's surprising. After Mike Norvell made such a big deal, and we're talking, as far as lawsuits, man, and taking their ball and going home and everything else. Did Georgia kick the soul out of this team when they destroyed them in the bowl game? I have no idea, but their expectations and what we thought we were going to see on the field from their offensive and defensive lines, they're bad. Like bad. Boston College, we watched Georgia Tech do it, and everybody went, oh, that was weird. They need to fix that, but they will because they're so talented. And then Boston College came in and on their own field pushed them all over the place. They had 200 rushing yards? Like they just shoved them around. And that was very unexpected. There's problems there. If they can't figure that out, every single team that they play, it's not going to get any easier. Georgia Tech and Boston College are probably some of the easiest teams they were supposed to play all season. Some of the weakest teams. And maybe not Boston College. Boston College every once in a while, and I said it last week, they will surprise you every once in a while. Last season, when Florida State had that great team, their closest game, I believe, all season long was the Boston College game up in Boston. So that was a really close game. Boston College almost upset them early in the season. So this is really surprising. I can't see Mike Norvell losing his job after one bad season, but it looks really bad at this point. And his face on the field is comical. He's standing there going, I don't know what to do. And you can see that in his eyes. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like we're throwing everything. We know how to get these guys motivated and actually play good football. And it's not happening. By the way, DJ Ukulele is awful. He's awful. He's terrible.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even going to – he doesn't deserve for me to learn how to say his name at this point because I don't care. Stop playing college football. You're embarrassing.
They were chanting for the backup quarterback during that game. DJ Uyunglele fell off.
Was that how you say it? Because I don't care.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If he doesn't know how to say my name, I don't have to learn how to say his.
Well, listen, that's fair. Listen, I'm not sure what more I can say to add on to that. You basically hit everything. Like Florida State, you and I on this show last year were very clear about our thoughts about the fact that Florida State was not one of the best 4 teams in the country at the end of the season. And then when they weren't selected for the college football playoff, the whole team quit. Like that is culture. Because Georgia got left out of the playoff. They didn't quit.
Nope.
They played the bowl game. They beat the crap out of Florida State's second and third string. So that's on them. Trey Davis comes in the chat. Will DJ you make it to the UFL? That's a hilarious question. I don't know. I don't know if he's better than that.
Is he even that good? Is he even that good? I'm not sure. I want to say no.
If he can't win games in the ACC, I don't know if he can win games in the UFL. Let's just be honest. The UFL has professional talent in that league. I don't know if he makes it. Volley Poly, DJU might be UFL bound, to be honest. I don't think he is. Well, let's see. If maybe he turns it around and pulls a Bo Nix and is able to do something crazy at Florida State. But
let's also say he's digressed, Ryan.
He's regressed, yeah. Yeah, he's regressed.
He was better at Oregon State. Oregon State had a decent team. And he looks. I mean, I watched that game, and he looks awful. I think he had one drive where he completed like 3 or 4 passes in a row, and his wide receiver broke some tackles to score a touchdown. Other than that, they don't get in the end zone in the second half. And
No.
He's terrible. He's overthrowing receivers. His receivers are surprised when they get hit by the ball. His tight end he hit him in the hands, and the tight end went, "Oh my gosh," and dropped it. Could you imagine being on that team? Like your expectation is you're going to have to make some spectacular catch because the quarterback's so inaccurate, and then he throws it at you, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't realize I would get hit."
I mean, first of all, Podcast Smitty, my buddy over on the Cat Cave, my other co-host over on that show, he comes in and says, "I hope he doesn't go to the UFL." I mean, listen, it sounds like you're talking about him missing receivers. Like Lenore Sellers was overthrowing a 6'5" Nick Harbor last week. So I get it when receivers aren't expecting it. Listen, let's talk about some more college football teams and surprises. I'm looking at some scores. Coleman Mullen in the chat real quick. DJU ain't turning nothing around for nobody. Terrible. And that's what he was trying to say, even though it came out trucks. Listen, I was looking at some scores last week. Some shockers as far as like teams that you think would do better. Number 3, Oregon wins by 10 against Idaho. Let's look at Texas Tech wins in overtime. If I can find that score again, 52-51 over Abilene Christian.
They're good, man. So Abilene Christian is an outstanding team from Abilene. I think.
They've got the power of Christ behind them. Abilene Christian.
Hey now.
But Bill, we look at what we saw last week. I mean, I think there's some obvious surprises, right? Like we already talked about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt knocking off Virginia Tech. They were up big on Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech took a lead in that fourth quarter. Vanderbilt had to come back and tie it and then win it in overtime. Volleyball chimes in. UNLV surprised him by beating Houston by 20. Did UNLV?
I like that.
Bill, were there any? We talked about. I mean, we've already mentioned Miami beating the crap out of Florida. I'm not sure how surprising that was. Old Dominion covered a 21-point spread against South Carolina, led in the fourth quarter of that game. South Carolina, for all intents and purposes, probably should have lost that game. Were there any other games that were sort of surprising to you as far as the way that some of these games turned out?
Sure. I think obviously you already mentioned Oregon. Idaho's a terrible team. I can't imagine they are a good team, and so that was a little bit weird. I think Texas absolutely annihilating Colorado State is surprising, 52-0. Alabama destroying Western Kentucky, like that's also a surprise. I mean, you blank a team, yeah, that's crazy, 63-0. Ole Miss, Furman, who's very close to us, went to the D2 playoffs last year and did pretty well. They almost beat Montana, who ended up winning the title, and they lose 76-0 to Ole Miss. Holy cow, what's going on? Notre Dame, good job. Come on, beat Texas A&M, good job. Penn State beating West Virginia as badly as they did on West Virginia's field. You know, that's a big one. Tennessee scares the crap out of me all of a sudden. Oklahoma State doesn't look as good as we think they might have been. And Iowa scored 40. That might be the biggest surprise in the history of Iowa football, that they scored more than 20 points against any opponent. They scored 40. That's amazing against Illinois State. And USC's quarterback, was it Miller Moss? Is that his name? Dude, that guy was dropping dimes in the second half at the end of that game against LSU. That was incredible. I was having fun watching that. That dude looked like a pro quarterback playing college football. I'm going to look forward to watching him more often during the season. I hope he continues that hot streak. But I don't know, man. Just getting started. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Coleman Mullen mentioned as a Clemson fan, they knew they were going to lose, but not scoring a touchdown was surprising to them.
You know what? The Cade Klubnik experiment is over. I don't know who you have. I don't know who your backup quarterback is, but put him in, pal, because it's over. Cade Klubnik is trash, and it's over. I don't care who he was playing.
This is going to be unpopular.
I don't care.
I think no. Listen,
you're talking
hear
about
me
me.
out.
Okay, go ahead. No.
I don't think. I think the Dabo Swinney experiment is over.
Oh, stop it! Stop.
I think you may not remember.
South Carolina would hire that man tomorrow. I don't want to hear that garbage.
No, hold on. We got some chats coming in. Smitty, Rob Carter's Jr.'s interception, though. And then Coleman, as a Clemson fan, agrees. Hear me out here, because I'm not trying to come out here and homer against Dabo Swinney. But Clemson fans are tired of it, that he refuses to use the transfer portal. Before Tony Elliott, before Brent Venables, Clemson football was notorious for the phrase Clemsoning, where they go with really high expectations and they fall short of those expectations. The program as a whole, winning 2 national championships in the last 10 years, set themselves up for some really high expectations. You've got Deshaun Watson. You've got Trevor Lawrence. You've got Travis Etienne. You've got DeAndre Hopkins. Mike, you've got studs coming out of this program. Vic Beasley, who's the guy that played for Miami until this season. They've got a lot of really good players.
Christian Wilkins. The old grabber guy.
Yeah, the old oil checker himself.
Yeah, bowling ball man.
Clemson fans are getting tired of it, man. Like they're really getting tired of the fact that there have been 0 starts by transfer players on the Clemson roster. Dabo's old school view of recruiting and building a roster is not working because he doesn't have the right coordinators in tow anymore. And so, despite having won national championships, you know who else won a national championship? Was it Gus Malzahn at Auburn? Or was it Gene Chizik at Auburn?
With Cam Newton?
Yes, Gene Chizik won a national championship at Auburn, and like 3 years later, he was out. So
didn't Barry Switzer win a title and a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Terrible coach. Coattail guy.
I will mention 2 other games. The North Carolina-Minnesota game was really fun watch. North Carolina wins that 19-17. Nobody's talking about the fact that North Dakota State, FCS powerhouse, for all intents and purposes, got screwed out of beating Colorado on the road, because the final drive of that game, where they threw a bomb to the 4-yard line before time ran out, they missed a targeting. They missed, I believe there was a pass interference call. There was a couple calls in that game that went Colorado's way. Colorado beat North Dakota State 31-26, and for all intents and purposes should have lost that game. And they treated that game like they won a national title. I can't wait to watch Colorado fall on their faces as the season goes along. Bill, we got to get to a lot of NFL talk, but before we get to NFL, are there any games in college football that you're looking forward to this weekend? We are going to talk about some when it comes to podcast Pick Ems, but you've got number 3 Texas on the road at number 10 Michigan. Arkansas looked really good last week. They're on the road at Oklahoma State, number 16 in the country. Are there any games in particular that intrigue you this coming weekend?
I mean, that's the best one. I mean, that Texas Michigan matchup is the best. Big noon Saturday on facts. Listen, I'm a Homer guy. You're a Homer guy. I'm looking forward to the Florida game. I want to watch them play Stanford and see if we can actually get a dub. Rutgers playing Akron. I can't wait to watch Rutgers win again. That'll be fun. Hopefully they do. There's not a great, it's weird. We talk about it at work every once in a while, and one of my coworkers brought it up today. There really aren't a ton of good matchups this week. We get one really good one at noon, and then kind of So we'll go with that and just see what's on TV from that point forward. Ryan, you have muted yourself just like the professional that you are.
Listen,
it's comedy, Ryan. It's comedy. I'm like, why can't I hear him? And then I look and you've got a microphone on your.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is there's only one other game we're going to talk about in podcast Pick Ems later on, because I've done this before. Number 14, Tennessee on the road to play NC State, number 24 in the country, at Bank of America Stadium, a neutral site game this early in the season. And then we took Houston, Oklahoma looked intriguing until they got blown up by UNLV. So a lot of fun college football coming.
How about Kansas at Illinois? Kansas at Illinois, 7 p.m. That one's not terrible, right?
I mean, I don't know. Listen,
Kansas is ranked.
South Carolina plays Kentucky at 3:30 over on ABC. And if you watch both of those games, listen, Kentucky cut their game short this past weekend because of weather. and they were up 30. They won 31-0. Like they probably would have dropped 60 themselves had it not been for bad weather.
Yeah.
And like you said, like you're looking forward to watching your Gators. I'm looking forward to watching the Gamecocks, but I also had to switch cable providers in order to do so. And by cable providers, I'm going to a streaming service, and then I may not make it back home because I've got some exciting stuff going on Saturday morning. Along with Shannon Smith over on the Cat Cave, we're going to go and rub elbows with some former Carolina Panthers greats at a distillery.
Is that actually a thing
North
that
Carolina?
The Panthers have greats?
I'm gonna sock you one.
All their Super Bowl victories, or maybe even playoff wins. What are there, like 3?
I'm gonna
two?
hit you in. I'm gonna hit you.
Okay.
You know when we go on the cruise in November, I'm gonna throw you overboard. That's what I'm gonna do.
For busting, I'm not busting on Detroit. I'm busting on Carolina.
Yeah.
To hear the words Carolina and greats in the same sentence, it's like an oxymoron to me. I don't.
Steve Smith
We
Sr.,
talk about South or North or anyway.
Jonathan Stewart, Luke Kuechly, Julius Peppers.
Are those people going to be there, or are we going to get like Steve Smith? He might be good.
Steve Smith will not be there.
Kevin Green.
Real quick, Kevin Green's passed away. That's unfortunate because he was my
might
favorite
not be
player of
there.
all time. He's not. I dropped the F-bomb on this show. Oh my god, I almost did it. Real quick, because we've got some viewers, a couple viewers on Facebook, some on YouTube. Join the conversation, be a part of the show. Leave comments like Podcast Mini telling Bill not to be a hater. Mama Frick said hey a few minutes ago, so make sure you join the conversation. Let's get into some NFL talk because we have officially have reached week 1 of the NFL season. And Bill, there are some, I don't want to call them marquee matchups, but there are some intriguing games when it comes to week 1 in the NFL. What games, obviously outside of your Dolphins, what games sort of call out to you in a game that you really want to see this weekend?
The opener. Come on, Thursday night. Holy cow. Yeah. They hit us right in the face with Thursday and Friday games that I think everybody's going to want to watch. Their both prospective playoff teams on both of those matchups. Baltimore at Kansas City, then on Friday we get Green Bay at Philadelphia from Brazil, and hopefully none of those guys get shot because they're going to be wearing the gang green, which is a wild scenario down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are fantastic. And then, I don't know, going into Sunday, I'm going to be watching Miami. I'm actually going to a Miami bar to watch the game with all my Fin fans of the upstate.
Are you going to Clock Tower?
Yes. You coming? You going to go with us? You want to go with us?
The Lions play. Listen, if you can swing the Lions play. The Lions play Sunday Night Football. Yeah. So you throw me if you can get me a Cam Smith jersey by Sunday, I'll wear it. I'm kidding.
He's not even on the roster. He got put on the IR. He got put on the IR because he didn't make the final 53 because he's on the IR. He's always hurt.
Find me a jersey. I'll come with you Sunday. I'll do it.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people there. And they're auctioning off a signed, framed Dan Marino jersey.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, we got a couple comments to get to. Volley Polly said, I'm going to be looking for Sunday Night Football. Trey, I'm going to get to you in a second.
Monday night's good too. Monday night, Jets at San Francisco. We get to see the return of Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully he stays healthy. And we want to see what the Jets team that has a really good defense. We all expect them to have a really good defense. They need the offense to catch up. Obviously been a problem since they didn't have a quarterback last season. We'll see what they look like on Monday night.
Now, I was going to mention something about Dan Marino. I've got a friend who has Dan Marino as a client for something and said he couldn't be nicer, like the nicest guy. Trey Davis comes in with a trivia question that I know the answer to. The trivia question is, who was the first person to be cut from the roster in Carolina Panthers history? It is a famous person. That is none other than former world heavyweight champion, both in WCW, the longest streak in pro wrestling history. One Bill Goldberg, former Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, I would have never known that.
Cut. And I did because I'm
good.
A nerd.
We're a team, so I feel good about that.
Where's the hold on? I can do a high five over this way.
Yeah, is it that way? Wait, it is that way.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
Ready?
Hold on. All right. We're not gonna do it.
Oh, wait.
There it is. All right.
Worst moment ever, right there. For everybody listening on Spotify, that was fantastic. You guys missed might be the worst
attempt. The worst 3 seconds of our show's history. No, I'm with you. Ravens, Chiefs, even Packers, Eagles in Brazil. Listen, I'm kind of looking forward. Obviously, I'm looking forward to a rematch of a divisional round game with the Lions and Rams. I believe they're actually going to try to give Matt Stafford his flowers since it's not a playoff game. And Trey Davis knows that I'm right because I do these things. And he also knows me as a wrestling fan. I'm curious to watch, honestly, I'm curious to watch the Panthers and Saints, not as a Panthers homer, not as a host of the Cat Cave. Sean Seelig in the house. What's up, dude? He says, "Go Ravens." The resident Ravens fan. I'm excited that he's on the show watching live with us tonight. Yeah, Panthers Saints, man. New look Carolina Panthers. Some new additions. I want to see how bad Derek Carr looks against the Panthers defense to see if Spencer Rattler goes in. But from another standpoint, like, look at the matchups. You got Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, Seahawks, Cowboys, Browns. I think the biggest games of the weekend are the ones that they put in the primetime slots. Yeah. Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers.
I got one for
Lions. What's up?
How are the Browns favored over the Cowboys?
That's a good question.
I know they're in Cleveland, but do we know what Deshaun Watson's going to look like? No.
Nah. I could not tell you.
Yeah. That's a weird bet, everyone. You want to bet a weird one?
Yeah, that's pretty
Browns
interesting.
laying 2.5 right now.
Lucas, I'm just hoping the Bills don't crap the bed this year. That's fair. Lucas Bell in the chat on YouTube. Let's
weird matchups. Good matchups. Ryan, we could probably go down the schedule, but we're not going to, and tell you what is interesting about every single matchup this week, like what to watch for, what's fun about each game. But we're not going to.
Yep. Shout out Lucas. He says hi, bully. Yeah, I'm with you, Bill. Let's we talked about some matchups. We talked about some kind of seeing what will this season will bring us. Oh, of course it's Dingo. I don't know why your name looked funny because of the Thor hammer on there. It's Dingo from Australia. We have an Australian viewer tonight, Bill. That's amazing. It's
Are we
so
supposed
good
to yell like, "Put another shrimp on the barbie"? Like, is that what you do when you see an Australian? I did that once on a cruise, and the guy punched me in the face. Not really.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Lucas in a very long time. Former guest of this show. We've talked New Japan on this show before. With Lucas, and I don't know why. I just had the brain fart. Lucas, it's amazing to see you on here. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have hung out before, but the last time you came to the States, I was sick and couldn't come down. I didn't know if it was COVID or not. Sean McElveen, don't forget the return of A-Rod Monday Night Football, going for 2 injuries in a row. Listen, they get the Niners. That's a tough defense to go against as your first game back from Achilles surgery. Bill, let's move on because we've got about 30 more minutes and we got to get to fantasy football talk. Before we do that, last week we picked our division winners. We picked all of our record winners. And so kind of really quickly wanted to talk about our playoff and Super Bowl predictions. I'm not sure if you're completely prepared for it, Bill. We don't have to go game by game, but we can just do Super Bowl game predictions.
I'll give you championship game predictions.
Sure.
Kansas City over Miami in the AFC Championship.
Okay. What about NFC?
NFC. Detroit over Green Bay.
Detroit over Green Bay. I don't know if I like that. I'm gonna go Dolphins over. I think the way that my playoffs worked out, Dolphins over the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. And I'm going to go Lions
Don't do it. Come on, man. Why are you doing
Niners?
I'm
going Lions over the Niners.
And then what? We play Dolphins, Lions in the Super Bowl, and you and I can no longer be friends.
That's going to be it. Yeah. I actually had a conversation with somebody earlier this week. I said, I want to see Lions Dolphins. But I don't think I'm going to be allowed in Bill's house.
Yeah. You can watch it in the yard.
You put the projector outside.
Yeah, I'll put the projector outside for you.
Like, Ryan, how cold is it outside, you bum?
I'll build you a fire. Don't worry, you'll be good.
Oh, man. Volley Polly wants to know over under of 10 times of Bill saying wrong again, Ryan, this year.
Oh,
You're gonna hear it. Yeah, you're gonna hear it a lot more than 10.
It's gonna start
A
tonight,
lot more
probably.
than 10. It will start tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So Bill has got Chiefs and Lions in the Super Bowl. I have got Dolphins and Lions in the Super Bowl. Bill, who wins the Super Bowl in 2024, 2025?
I believe that the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl this year. I think they should have won it last year. Still think they should have won it last year.
Yeah.
And I think the secondary is going to be better this year. And that was their Achilles heel. And I think that their rookies that played so well last year get even better this year. And they have a fantastic season. They have like the two best tackles in the NFL. So the offensive line is going to be fantastic. And they're going to be really good. Mine, I guess, not named Trent Williams. That's probably a pretty good player too.
I want to see if Jameson Williams can step up and be the Tyreek Hill of this offense, because he's got that kind of speed, but he hasn't shown it on the field. So
he needs to, honestly. It can't just be Amon-Ra in the wide receiver. It can't just be him. So he needs to. He should. He's that good. He had some flashes last year. If he stays healthy, he'll be all right.
I'm really excited for this season of Lions football. I have them at 15-2 on the season. So I think if everyone stays healthy, I think they've got a real shot to win the Super Bowl this year. And they are the national pundit favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Like, you hear everybody saying Lions, it's Lions, it's Lions. And you got to see how well they handle that sort of pressure, because the Lions have never had this sort of pressure put on them. And so let's see if the Lions can pull out the unthinkable and win their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Bill, with the NFL comes fantasy football.
Yeah, you got to hurry, Ryan. We're on the clock here, pal.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes to get through this and podcast pick 'em. We will do so. But with fantasy football, if you did not watch the show last season, we have the segment that we call Factor Crap. And what I do is I go by ESPN projections, by quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And I will buy those players. We call buy and sell Factor Crap. I will buy those players if I think it will exceed their projections. Bill will say whether or not that is facts or whether or not that is crap. And here we are. So let's start off with all of our buys at quarterback. I am buying Daniel Jones. Now, listen, I'm not telling you to start Daniel Jones. I'm not telling you to draft Daniel Jones. I'm not telling you to roster Daniel Jones. But I will tell you the fact that they play Minnesota at home Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff. He is projected 18.9 points. The Vikings are not going to be able to stay on the field offensively. And people forgot about the fact that Daniel Jones knows how to get the ball going on the ground. He's got talented receivers on that team now. Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt. Not sure how the run game is going to look without Saquon Barkley, which means that Daniel Jones is going to be relied even more heavily on to run the football. I like Daniel Jones to exceed 18.9 points. Bill, is that fact or is that crap?
I hate this one because you know how much I hate Daniel Jones. But I think, honestly, this is going to be an awful football game.
It's fair.
But I think you're right. I think Minnesota can't stay on the field. I originally thought this was complete crap, but I think Minnesota is going to be so bad offensively that Daniel Jones is going to have every opportunity to score. And you're not wrong. He is the giraffe, and he does like to run the football. And he beat Minnesota with Kirk Cousins in the playoffs 2 years ago in Minnesota. So I'm going to go with fact on this one. And I hate it. Hate it.
And Minnesota had a better defense back then, too.
Yes, I hate it.
Let's go over to running back, and I'm going to call a familiar name.
This makes no sense.
What do you mean it makes no sense?
We just talked about how their offense is terrible, and now you're going by on this man.
13.6 points is not a lot of points for a running back. If he listen, I just talked about. Let's talk about. I'm buying running back Aaron Jones, the starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota did not have a run game last year when they let go of Dalvin Cook. They thought Alexander Madison was going to be the guy. He wound up not being so. Aaron Jones was not retained by the Green Bay Packers, even though he was probably one of the better players on that Packers offense the last few years. He's only projected 13.6 points on the road at New York. The only reason why I'm buying in over 13.6 points is because I don't think that Sam Darnold is going to be able to get the ball to those wide receivers. And so Aaron Jones is going to have to take the bulk of the load for the Vikings offense, which is why I'm buying in on Aaron Jones. Bill, is that crap?
Crap.
I'm guessing you're going to say
Complete crap. Would never touch Aaron Jones. I wouldn't touch a Minnesota offensive player not named Justin Jefferson this season. No.
I
love Aaron Jones, though. I do love him.
I passed Aaron Jones for Jahmyr Gibbs. Or not Aaron Jones. I passed Justin Jefferson, drafting 9th of 12 for Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's how far he has fallen. He was number 1 last season on most boards.
A lot of people are still taking him 1.
Yeah, but
I don't get it.
Just no quarterback play.
Let's go over to wide receiver. My buy is wide receiver Drake London of the Atlanta Falcons. He is projected 14.4 fantasy points. He gets a home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday at 1:00. Kirk Cousins. We just talked about Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. Kirk Cousins likes to sling the ball around.
Yes, he does.
The Steelers are going to be really bad this year. They're going to be really bad this year. And I think the Falcons are going to shock some people, and they're going to come out slinging this ball around. And the biggest recipient of this game, of this game from Kirk Cousins, will be Drake London, which is why I love him in week 1. I don't know if it's sustainable, but if you've got Drake London, you at least roll with him in your flex this week. Bill, what say you? Factor crap, Drake London exceeds 14.4 points.
I'm going to say wrong again, Ryan. I think that the only thing Pittsburgh is going to be good at this season is playing defense. That's what Mike Tomlin teams are known for. And I think that's the only thing they're going to be able to do. So they're going to hold you down and try to get anything out of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. It's just, who knows? Anyway, they're terrible. But I don't feel Drake London this week. I think he's going to be better this season. I actually passed on him. I did have an opportunity to draft him. He makes me nervous. He just makes me nervous. There's just no production that you can feel confident about until we see it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I say crap for this week.
All right, let's go over to tight end. My tight end buy this week goes to Brock Bowers, the rookie from Georgia, the rookie tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. He is only projected 9.8 points, and he is at the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday 4:05 kickoff. The only reason I'm picking him, obviously the Raiders have Devontae Adams, but I don't know how good. I mean,
that's it.
Harbaugh.
I don't know nobody else.
Like Jim Harbaugh is known for his defensive coaching, but like the Chargers have been bad on defense for a very long time,
especially in the secondary.
Yeah, Harbaugh is not going to come in and stop or be able to just absolutely dominate defensively right away. And with such a low projection, like most people drafted Brock Bowers super late to take a flyer on maybe this kid's the next Sam Laporta. Or, maybe people passed on him because they think he's the next Kyle Pitts. But I think that he surpasses his 9.8 points, and I think he gets into double digits this week. Bill, what say you? Factor crap buying Brock Bowers.
This is a tough one because you're going to have to get a pretty good number of receptions if he doesn't score a touchdown, because I don't think that they're going to be all that great on offense. So, man, this one's really borderline. This is an easy, I think.
You love me some Gardner Minshew, though, man.
I love Gardner Minshew. I really do.
Minshew madness.
Let's listen. I don't love Gardner Minshew. I don't think he's like a fantastic, going to make the Pro Bowl type quarterback, but I love him for the fact that he's always been underappreciated everywhere he's gone, and he's come back so many times, and the guy is still relevant. He's going to start again in the NFL this year. With that being said, I'm going to have to go fact on this one just because I don't know who else they're going to throw to. I think Brock Bowers can get open in the NFL.
Yahtzee. All right, we're 2-2 so far in the Bullies buys for our Factor Crap segment. All right, let's go over to my sells, and I'm selling quarterback Justin Herbert, projected 20.4 points, playing at home against the Raiders. We just talked about Brock Bowers playing at the Chargers. The Sunday 4:05 kickoff. Justin Herbert's been banged up in the preseason. I don't know if he plays in this game, and if he does, I think he's going to be limited. He's got some young receivers around him and Ladd McConkey, and I don't know who else. But there's no Keenan Allen. There's no Mike Williams. There's no Austin Eckler. Joshua Palmer. Yeah. So, especially considering I don't know about what his health looks like. that's why I'm selling Justin Herbert. I don't think he breaks 20 points this week. Bill, is that fact or is that crap?
I'm going to go with the fact on this one as well. Justin Herbert's known for it. When he's injured, he's not good. And we've seen that many seasons now that when he gets dinged up, he is not a good quarterback. He's not as accurate as he is when he's playing healthy. In fact, he's not very accurate even when he's healthy if you look at his stats. But yeah, I'm going to go with fact. I think you're probably correct on this. It's going to be interesting because I feel like both those teams are going to be interesting this season. I feel like the Chargers are going to be okay once Herbert gets healthy. I think they win this game, though.
I'm right there with you. I think they win this game. But yeah, I don't like Herbert in this game. Let's go over to running back. I mentioned Panthers Saints earlier in the show. I'm selling running back Alvin Kamara, projected 17.7 points at home. Sunday, 1:00 kickoff. Alvin Kamara did not look like himself last season. I don't think you get much. I don't think he's going to get much better this year. You still got Derek Carr. They're going to focus on the run game, considering Derek Carr will be the quarterback at least for the first 8 weeks of the season before he relinquishes that role to one Spencer Rattler.
Oh, here we go.
The Carolina Panthers, despite having an anemic at best offense last year, had a really good defense. Now they've lost some keys on that defense in Frankie Louvu, and I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was traded up north, and Brian Burns. Even though they don't have Brian Burns and Frankie Louvu, I think this defense is still going to be good enough to zone in, to clue in on this run game, hold Alvin Kamara under 17 fantasy points. Bill, what say you? Was that factor crap selling Alvin Kamara in week 1?
I don't feel like it's the run game we're concerned with Kamara. He had 75 receptions last year. And I don't think that offense is going to change a whole lot. I think Kamara catches a lot of balls. He's going to obviously have a big PPR number, but 17.7 is a huge number for a running back, and it's because Carolina is going to stink again. That is a big number. So I'm going to have to go with fact on this one because 17.7 is really, 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 that's huge.
I'm genuinely surprised. I thought you were going to call crap on that. All right, let's go over to wide receiver. And this is going to...
He's got a score.
It is a big number. Let's go over to wide receiver, and this is going to be an interesting name and an interesting conversation to talk about because I'm selling Jamar Chase in week 1, projected 19.3 points at home against the really, really, really bad New England Patriots Sunday at 1:00. However, as of yesterday, Jamar Chase was still not practicing. I think I can't remember if this is a contract dispute or if it's injury related.
It is a contract dispute.
But either way, the fact that he's not practicing 4 days, let's see, what's that? 5 days before a game? I don't expect. I mean, I'm the person that says whoever's holding out ends up having a bad season. They did. Josh Jacobs had a bad year in Vegas last year. We've seen it time and time again. Guys hold out. They deal with nagging soft tissue injuries. They deal with a drop-off in production. I don't like Jamar Chase in week 1. I don't even know if he suits up for this game. So I'm selling the 19.3 points. And I know that's upsetting to a lot of people, or at least confusing to a lot of people, or a lot of people are like, what is this moron going on about? But I don't see Jamar Chase breaking 19 points. Bill, what say you? Buy or sell 19 points
said it, Ryan.
Jamar Chase.
I'm going to go fact on this one because he hasn't practiced yet. It doesn't make sense. This is ridiculous. It is a contract dispute. All the other wide receivers have gotten their contracts. Tyreek's got a restructure. CD got his contract. He's still waiting for his. Cincinnati playing hardball and Jamar playing hardball. So I think that bodes poorly for his performance in week 1.
All right, let's talk about my last sell for this week, and that goes to San Francisco's 49ers tight end George Kittle. He's projected 11.3 points. He is at home against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. The Jets, I believe they had the number 3 defense in the NFL last year, despite having, again, no Aaron Rodgers. I know that the 49ers are at home. I know what's on Monday Night Football. I think that the fact that Brandon, we just talked about contract disputes. Brandon Ayuk is back. He got his contract extension. Deebo Samuel is still here. Christian McCaffrey is still here. Obviously, Ricky Pearsall will not be playing in this game because he got shot last week. Thank God that didn't turn out
okay.
Worse. Yeah, he's good. Didn't hit any major organs.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's practiced. He was in the weight room this week after getting shot
in the chest.
He got shot in the chest, and he was in the weight room. Bill, Ricky, he is my favorite player now. My favorite player in the NFL. He got shot in the chest, and he's already in the weight room. Dude is a monster. I don't care if anyway. Having said all that,
Gators growing, Ryan. It's how the Gators grow. That tough.
Having said that, George Kittle has declined in production over the last few years. He is not the George Kittle we all once knew that was a top 2 to a top 3 tight end in fantasy football, which is why I'm selling 11.3 points. Bill, is that factor crap for George Kittle?
It's crap.
Going under.
Yep. Put him in. It's crap. He's going to score. The Jets are.
Listen, I'm not telling you not to start him. I'm just telling you to temper expectations. You know what I mean? All right. That's your fantasy football buy and sell factor crap. Week 1, we are back, and I'm really excited for fantasy football this coming weekend. I've only got 2 teams this year. We're not doing a podcast league this year.
So disappointed.
I can't. We all got stuff going on, man.
You're killing.
Like, I don't even know. Have you still not played the college football 25 game in the league?
Yes, I played today.
You played it?
Yes.
Okay, so I at least have something to do when we get off the air here.
Yes.
So that's exciting. Matter of fact, we should have 2 because the other one all you have to do is recruit and then hit ready to advance. So I'll have
hurry
2
up. We'll go do that right now.
All right. Sean says boo. I'm not sure what he's saying boo about from is it George Kittle maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah. He's feeling good about the Jets. He's feeling the Jets for some reason.
All right. Podcast Pick Ems week 2. And if you didn't pay attention last week, it was not a great week for either one of us, Bill. However, I did squeak out a better week than you did as you were coming in with bump. Oh, I think I actually have this soundbite. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it. It's got to be here. Come on. Oh, no, I can't find it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Let's see if it plays. Bill's one and only win came in the Notre Dame Texas A&M game. Bill is 1-4 on the season. I am 2-3. And let's go ahead and get back to our own pick'ems after I read this one. Oh, because Sean was in the fantasy league last year, and he was
upset. Yes, I'm so sad.
I got busy with comedy. Bill moved into a house and going on. All right, let's get into podcast pick'ems. A couple college football games to pick, 3 NFL games to pick this week, and let's go ahead and get into it. Number 4, we already mentioned on the show. Number 4, Texas, 7.5 point road favorite at number 9, Michigan. Bill said it. It's the big noon game on Fox, Ann Arbor, Michigan, at Michigan Stadium. Bill, what say you? Number 4, Texas, 7.5 point road favorite against Michigan. Who you got here?
This one's tough, man. That's a big number. That's a big number. Texas looked fantastic, though. I mean, they looked fantastic. In Michigan, they make me nervous. Even with 7.5. Wow. On the road in the big house? Man, I don't know, but wow. Give me Texas. I don't feel good about Michigan's quarterback situation. Alex Orji didn't get the start. They started a different guy. So
you're taking Texas?
I'm taking Texas. I think Texas looks decent right now.
Real quick, shout out to Zoli over on Instagram. He's watching over on Instagram with us a minute ago. Give me Michigan to cover. I don't think they win this game, but they might lose. They might lose by a field goal. Listen, it's not like they're stealing signs or
Appalachian State, Ryan. Appalachian State.
That was
when they beat Michigan in the big house all those years ago. 2007, I think it was.
It was a long time ago.
Listen, it's not. Yeah, Texas.
All right, you talked about a team you were scared about earlier. Number 15, Tennessee, going out east to Charlotte, North Carolina, to play a neutral site game against number 24, North Carolina State. Saturday, 7:30 kickoff on ABC. This game follows South Carolina getting destroyed by Kentucky on ABC. Bill, give me Tennessee, man. Like, I'm with you, dude. I don't want to.
I'm with you. Tennessee.
I hate Tennessee. I
So do I.
hate Tennessee so much.
But they have that young,
Um,
was a sophomore quarterback, Ilamale Malava. Whatever. He's got a name that we're gonna have to learn, and I will learn his because he looks like he can throw. So I think Tennessee beats NC State.
Yeah, and they beat them bad. Let's go over to the NFL games that we have to pick. I'm trying to keep up with our picks here. Baltimore Ravens. We talked about this at length too. The Thursday night football. Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. A 3-point favorite are the Chiefs. Thursday night football. This game will be played on NBC, not on Amazon. Listen, last year the Ravens did not run the football like the Ravens normally do in the playoffs against the Chiefs, and I think it was their downfall. I think they learned from that mistake. Bill, give me the Ravens to pull the upset here in week one. The Chiefs lost week one last year to the Lions on opening weekend.
And went on to win the Super Bowl.
Give me the Ravens to knock off the Chiefs on Thursday night football. Bill, what say you, Ravens at Chiefs?
I'm not going to bet against Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs. Not going to do it. I know he lost last year in the opener. I know.
All right. Let's go to the next game. This is the Sunday night football game. We didn't talk a lot about this game, but again, Matthew Stafford's second return to Detroit. His wife has already come out and said that she is not going to be at this game based on what happened to Stafford getting booed out of the stadium in the playoff game. But I believe I've seen somewhere that they're going to give Matthew Stafford his flowers for what he did for the Detroit Lions, despite never winning a playoff game with the Lions. They were
never
fun.
winning. We're going to make him feel good.
They were exciting to watch for a while in Detroit with
there was a
with
guy
Matthew
on that team
Stafford
called Megatron
and
that
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush had 1,000 yards rushing in that team. Javid Best was a star on that team.
Anyway,
the Los Angeles Rams are a 3.5-point underdog on the road at the Lions. Bill, what say you? Sunday night football, another NBC game.
They're my pick to win the Super Bowl. Give me the Lions. They start this week.
I am right there with you. Of course, I'm wearing my Barry Sanders jersey. Of course, you're going to give me the Lions here to start off the season 1-0 once again. And then the final game that we're going to pick here, the Monday night football game, New York Jets at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are a 4.5-point home favorite. Monday night football on ABC and ESPN. Bill, do the Jets have enough in the tank, or are the Niners just that much better?
The Niners are that much better. Give me the Niners. They cover the 4.5.
You know what? I'm going to look at my handy dandy spreadsheet and see if I took San Francisco in this game. And I did. Give me the Niners.
Wait a minute. That's heads up, though. You can go back on that because of the points. We weren't doing it on spreads.
Oh, no. I'll give me the 4.5 points.
All right.
I'll take the Niners to win by a touchdown. You know how as a Lions fan, you know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Not to mention, we're not talking about this a lot, but especially because we called him Voldemort for a long time on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't think Aaron Rodgers gets along with his teammates. I think they think he's the douchebag that the other people that weren't Green Bay Packers fans think that he is.
I've heard this.
And maybe he should go back into some dark room and take peyote for a while. Once he's out of the NFL. Yeah, give me the Niners with the points. Bill, we have reached the end of the show. If you can believe that, another week, another episode in the tank. Before we sign out of here, is there anything else that you want to leave the crowd, leave the fans with?
Go Dolphins. That's it.
Go Dolphins.
That's it. Bring it. It's gonna be a good opener this week against the Jaguars.
I don't have much to say. South Carolina probably going to get their teeth kicked in by Kentucky. I think the Panthers have a shot to beat New Orleans. I don't think it's going to happen. But the Lions are going to start off 1-0 once again. So I'm excited that for the next 16 weeks, it's going to not 20 weeks. We're going to get football on the weekends.
Yeah.
I've got both of my TVs ready to go. I've cut the cable. I'm going to Fubo TV. Sean, we love you too, man. Go Ravens. For your sake, that's the only time you ever hear me say it.
He's a Vikings fan. He's a Vikings fan.
Who's a Vikings fan?
Oh, that's the other Sean.
Oh, Sean.
Sorry,
yeah, that's my buddy Sean. Yeah, he's a Ravens fan. All right.
We got two Seans in here. We had two Seans.
Yeah.
Maybe
all right,
they're
folks,
brothers.
Like Michael
Definitely
Jackson
not
and Michael
really.
Jordan were brothers. Definitely not. All right. All right, folks. If you want to follow the show on social media, Facebook.com/tapouts and touchdowns. Go to X at tapouts and teenies. Even though we don't go live on it there anymore, we do find some stuff over on X. YouTube at tapouts and touchdowns. And on Instagram, I have changed my handle. I talked about doing it after last week's show. On Instagram, I am now at Ryan Frick Comedy on Instagram. So make sure you go follow that page as well, because we will be going live on Instagram going forward, because we can't go live on X and we can go live on 3 platforms. Thanks to everybody who joined in the conversation. Sean, the other Sean, Volley Polly, Lucas, Dingo from Australia. We had an international viewer on the show tonight. Coleman Nolan.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody who was part of the show. Come back next week. We'll be breaking down week 2 of college football, week 1 of the NFL, and so much more. So please join us back next week, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. For Banker Bill, I'm your guy, Bully Rye, and we'll see you next week right here on Tap House and Touchdowns.